Say goodbye to spreadsheets and manual data aggregation. With Profit Analyzer, we can give you an end-to-end view of your overall profitability across all of your sales channels and marketplaces in one place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another conversation at Amazon Accelerate. My name is Cameron Yoder, and I am joined today by Michelle. And today we're going to touch on a very specific subset of problems that sellers are running into, and specifically how Veeqo can help solve those problems. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you. Before we kind of dive into Veeqo Profit Analyzer, I think it'd be great to have you just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about yourself.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Michelle Lough. I'm the head of product at Veeqo. I've been in this role for about 5 years now, joining Amazon as a startup before its acquisition by Amazon a couple of years ago.
Let's start the conversation at the very top, just what the overall goal of Veeqo Profit Analyzer is.
Yeah. So Veeqo's Profit Analyzer is our complete solution to let sellers see their real-time profit data across all of their sales channels and marketplaces in one place. It's really a part of an end-to-end solution of multi-channel retail tools that Veeqo offers to our sellers. And I can tell you a bit about them if that's interesting.
Yeah.
Great. So we offer like 3 main areas. So the first one is our shipping software, which enables sellers to fulfill all of their orders across multiple sales channels and marketplaces in one place. The second one is our inventory tools, which we enable to let sellers sync their stock and align it across multiple sales channels and integrations. And the goal of that is really to help sellers prevent overselling and overstocking and stockouts. And the third one and final one is our suite of profitability insights and reports that goes beyond just profitability. We also offer analytics like sales trends, demand forecasting, as well as inventory insights, really everything you need to run your business. I can go back and talk about Veeqo credits if that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of curiosity, which pain point, like where did Veeqo start first? Which of these hit first for Veeqo?
Yeah, it's really on the shipping and inventory side of things. So our founder and CEO, Matt Warren, was a seller himself many years back, and he started selling on eBay and Shopify and Amazon and Walmart and found it really difficult to be able to reconcile all that data floating around and really be able to manage his business. So it came from a deep personal pain for himself.
Yeah. Seller pain points. Let's talk about credits. How does that come into play?
Yeah, so last year at Accelerate, we came to here and we launched our shipping credits reward program called Veeqo Credits, which really helps sellers reduce their cost to serve by offering up to 5% back on shipping label spend within Veeqo. That effectively gives you the lowest available commercial rates across anywhere in the US. So we've spoken to a ton of sellers since then, and a lot of them have told me how that massive reduction in shipping spend has enabled them to save a lot of money and reinvest back into their business and their profitability. But the problem a lot of them still encounter really is this remaining problem that we hadn't solved yet, which is the ability to access your granular profit level data. And that's a truly, truly notorious problem for many reasons.
Why? Can you talk a little bit about that? So getting more granular, why is that such an important solution for these problems that sellers are experiencing?
Yeah, because without that data, how would you possibly know what to do? And so getting that data is critical for really everything from managing your inventory levels to optimizing your pricing, to know where to optimize your advertising spend, to know where to invest for your next growth in the business stage that you're in.
That makes sense. So talking more about problems, like even though you've been discussing it through this conversation, I think it'd be good to outline again the really big problems that this is helping solve for sellers. So what would you say are kind of those key seller problems that this is solving?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, really accessing your granular level of profitability insights per ASIN or per SKU is notoriously challenging. And it really comes down to a couple of different problems. So the first one of them is really data aggregation struggle. 60% of sellers are still doing manual data compilation, meaning they're downloading data from different tools and marketplaces, and they're piecing together different spreadsheets, and they're spending hours, about 4 to 6 hours per week on average. It's hugely painful, it's extremely error prone, and frankly, you could be doing something else more valuable with that time. So that's the first problem. The second problem is really that they lack real-time insights. So a lot of them do their books at the end of the month and they can see all their data in one place. But as a seller, you really need that real-time or near real-time level of insights so you can react very quickly. One example of that is during, big sales events like Amazon Prime Day. Not having access to that near real-time data means you can't instantly pivot and evolve as customer sentiment changes. So that's one of the areas that we hear a lot of feedback about. And finally, there's a lot of challenge of getting a single comprehensive view of all of your multi-channel data. And that data really includes everything from advertising costs and product costs and shipping spend. They're really in a patchwork of different systems and tools. And so seeing that all within the same tool is really, really challenging. A lot of sellers rely on these third-party tools that create a unified view or a little bit more unified view. But they still spend hundreds of dollars a year on these tools. And to be frank, they're still not quite the aggregate format you need. The data is still sitting in different silos across different dashboards in the same tool. So you as a seller still need to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to just see and access your own data.
It's interesting, isn't it? As a seller, you know that data is really important to solve your problems, but it's very overwhelming, especially since so many are doing it manually. And I'm probably a part of that problem myself. But I think that having sellers do that, it can be really overwhelming. So to have an all-in-one solution like this to bring data together, I can really see how sellers would want to step into something like that. So we've talked a bit about kind of the why and the what. Maybe can you walk us through how this solution operates, how it works?
Yeah, of course. So at the heart of Veeqo Profit Analyzer is a single unified dashboard that shows you all of your profit data. And we're talking really everything from advertising spend to your FBA and FBM fees to your marketplace selling fees and shipping costs and even your cost of goods sold or your product costs. You name it, really, it's all in one place. We aggregate that data and sync it directly from all of your sales channels and marketplaces. And within Veeqo, that includes Amazon FBA, FBM, Shopify, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, and more. You simply log in and see everything in one place. And the beauty of all of this is that we do it automatically. So you don't need to go in and aggregate that data manually or download them into spreadsheets. You just log in and everything is there in near real time. What we also do is we make sure that the granular data you see in Veeqo reflects all of your profitability. So it's an accurate reflection of your P&L. And the way we do that is to calculate and aggregate all of your different costs and profit and revenue. So to calculate net sales, we include everything from gross revenue minus discounts, as well as any shipping revenue that you might have. But what really separates Veeqo from other shipping tools and other profitability tools out there is that we include a wide range of costs within the product. And that includes advertising spend, product costs, shipping revenue, and even FBA fees and customer return costs. So it's very comprehensive.
So how does ad spend? So ad spend is a part of this conversation as well. Talk to us about how that fits into all this through Veeqo.
It's a critical part of our product, and it's really one of the standout features of our Profit Analyzer dashboard. Veeqo Profit Analyzer enables you to optimize your advertising spend by seeing your granular attribution inside the product. You can also see your tacos metrics, your total advertising cost of sales. And that really enables you to dive deep and understand how these ad dollars are affecting your profit margin for each individual ASIN. I can tell you a little bit about how we do ad attribution in Amazon across the 3 different types of Amazon ads.
Let's do it. Yeah, I think advertising is such a key part of this conversation. A lot of sellers, every seller is doing it, and it really ties in very well. So I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah. So let's start with Amazon's sponsored products. For this kind of product, we use a same-day attribution model, meaning we take into account any clicks or views that occur within the same day of a conversion event. If a customer interacted with multiple ads, then our model considers which ads was most relevant to that particular product. And then we also consider a last touch approach, prioritizing last click over last view. And the reason we do that is because clicks represent a stronger engagement signal over views. So that's Amazon sponsored ads. For Amazon sponsored display ads, we use a 14-day attribution model, meaning that we take into account any clicks or views that occurred within 14 days of a conversion event. Similarly, we use a similar attribution model that takes into account clicks over views and last click over last view. And finally, for sponsored brands, we don't get ASIN level data from Amazon. We look and allocate at those costs based on the performance of each individual SKU during that program. If there were no sales during a given time period, then we'll allocate those costs evenly across all the SKUs that were part of the sponsored brand campaign. And so the reason we do all of this is because the granular ad attribution is critical to helping you manage where your ad dollars are going and your profit margin per ASIN. And you're able to then make truly data-informed decisions of where to allocate your spending budget for the future.
One other really key area that I think this conversation leads into is the idea of global selling. So sellers are selling all over the world. There's this aspect of logistics mixed in with that through global selling. So can you talk to me about how that works with Veeqo, how Veeqo plugs into that aspect of selling?
Yeah, of course. So we support all of the different Amazon marketplaces, such as EU, as well as the US and Canada, Mexico, as well as a variety of them. We also support FBA and FBM fees within Veeqo, and I can tell you a little bit about that.
Sure.
Within the product, you can see a full detailed breakdown across FBA and FBM charges. And that really includes everything from storage costs to fulfillment costs to customer return costs. And that level of granularity really is critical for helping you manage your Amazon profitability. I can spend some time talking about this one particular expense in general, which is your FBM shipping costs. If you fulfill orders by yourself, you know as a seller that shipping is a significant part of your overall profitability. And that's where Veeqo really excels at giving you that level of transparency you need. When you ship your orders, Amazon or non-Amazon within Veeqo, we automatically pull those shipping costs directly into Veeqo Profit Analyzer. So you can see exactly what it costs for you to fulfill each individual order. And what's really unique about our shipping cost reporting is that it reflects an accurate shipping cost at an individual ASIN level instead of just an approximation. So here at Accelerate last year, we announced our shipping rewards program, Veeqo Credits, that enables you to earn up to 5% back on your label spend within Veeqo. And that also gives you the lowest available commercial rates anywhere in the US. Within Veeqo Profit Analyzer, you can also see what you earned over the Veeqo Credits program. And that effectively, in aggregate, gives you more ability to make strategic decisions around your shipping. So say, for example, you might choose to change your shipping rates or your shipping policies for buyers to maintain healthy margins, or you might choose to shop around and find an alternative shipping carrier to reduce your overall shipping spend.
I think this area can be really overwhelming and confusing for a lot of sellers, no matter what size they are, right? The logistics space can just be a lot. And so it sounds like in conjunction with the other functions, advertising, anything else that Veeqo accomplishes, this is a really key area that helps sellers kind of distill this down and simplify it. What other features, are there any other features that you want to touch on that help sellers?
So I'd love to tell you about product costs and how Veeqo Profit Analyzer enables you to track that automatically and dynamically to see how it impacts your profit margin. Let's say your supplier increases pricing. With Veeqo, you're able to actually track that change in costs and see the individual product margin impact for an individual ASIN. And that empowers you to make different kinds of decisions. So for example, you might choose to absorb the increased costs, pass them on to buyers, or find a different supplier altogether. Within Veeqo, there's a couple of different ways you can add product costs into the dashboard. The first is simply to add them directly into the dashboard at an individual ASIN level. But interestingly and alternatively, you're able to also use Veeqo Purchasing to track automatically and dynamically the different product costs and changes over time. I'll give you an example. So let's say you bought a unit of good that cost $10 per unit this week, but it was $15 per unit last week. With Veeqo Profit Analyzer, you're able to accurately track that change in product costs, and we can automatically calculate that dynamic costs over time into Veeqo. What's really unique is that this dynamic cost has a significant impact on your overall profitability. So instead of relying on a static cost that doesn't change over time, this is far more accurate to help you understand your overall picture of margins and costs so you can make different kinds of decisions, like optimizing your pricing, changing your inventory levels, and other key decisions that change your profitability. So far we've talked about a lot about how Veeqo calculates the different kinds of costs within Profit Analyzer, covering everything from shipping spend to advertising spend to product costs. Let me tell you a little bit about how you can use the profitability and analytics tools to understand your business. Within the dashboard, you're able to filter for a variety of key metrics, such as units sold, profit margin, shipping costs, and advertising spend. This helps you identify the most lucrative SKUs, as well as any underperforming items that might need your attention. Within the product section, you're able to sort by a variety of key metrics too, such as marketplace and date range, helping you spot trends and changes over time. So for example, you might notice that a particular SKU is doing really well in sales or profitability in one particular sales channel versus another. You're also able to go back and analyze profitability trends over time. Within the dashboard, you can filter for different kinds of date ranges, and you can see how your key metrics, such as orders, volumes, units, or have fluctuated historically. This helps you identify opportunities and spot issues before they become bigger problems for yourself. And finally, we have a variety of key metrics within the product that help you understand what to stock and have the right items in stock at the right time. One of these key metrics is our sales velocity metric, which tracks how your products are quickly are selling so you can optimize on inventory levels and also replenishment. Another one of these is to track stockout rates, which helps you identify which items are undersupplied so you can quickly go back and repurchase inventory and replenish them, as well as items that are oversupplied and overstocked, which might inform you to make different decisions around pricing, ordering, or maybe even production.
There's a key part of this conversation that we haven't touched on yet. You've touched on, I think, just about everything that a seller would want to know revolving around the solutions to all of these major problems. But one really key part of this is how sellers can access this, how they can find Veeqo, get started. So how can sellers find Veeqo and or get started using this?
Yes, simply go to veeqo.com/profit-analyzer and log in with your Amazon account. Onboarding is incredibly simple. It only takes a few clicks to connect your sales channels, and we will sync your profit data right away. Once you're set up, you can access your Profit Analyzer dashboard, where you can see a near real-time snapshot of your overall profitability. You can filter by date range, marketplace, and product, and more to deep dive into your analytics. One of the more powerful features is your ability to look into the product view and sort and analyze top performing products, see which items are driving the highest margins, orders, shipping costs, and advertising spend. And finally, you can click into any individual product to see a full detailed profitability breakdown. That level of granularity helps give you a full picture of each item's costs and margins to help you make more informed decisions.
I think one last aspect that a lot of sellers also look forward to in a conversation like this is thinking about what's next, what's coming next. So what is next for Veeqo? What do sellers have to look forward to?
Yeah, of course, this is just the start of this. We have a number of really exciting developments on our roadmap, and I can give you a quick preview. The first area is really our integrations. We're significantly expanding the number of sales channels and marketplaces integrations in the future. Right now, we support 10 sales channels, and we're adding dozens more. And the goal is to be able to give you a true, comprehensive multi-channel view of your profitability. Another one is that we plan on automating some of these insights. So in the future, we're going to be able to proactively identify recommendations for you. So for example, we can recommend to you to sell a particular item on a particular place to maximize your overall profits. And finally, we're expanding our advertising integrations. Right now, we support Amazon ads, and we plan on expanding support to Google and Facebook ads to give you a true deep dive into your ROI of your advertising spend.
We've covered a lot. Are there any last words that you want sellers, brands that are watching to hear before we end?
First, say goodbye to spreadsheets and manual data aggregation. With Profit Analyzer, we can give you an end-to-end view of your overall profitability across all of your sales channels and marketplaces in one place. Second, you can now analyze your profitability hourly instead of waiting for the end of the month when you do your books. This helps you make timely decisions within your business. And finally, Veeqo Profit Analyzer empowers you to make truly data-driven decisions. Import your product data into Veeqo so you can help identify top-performing products, get a full view of your pricing and costs so you can optimize and drive your overall business strategy. And the last thing I want to leave with also is that Veeqo is completely free.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for joining me today. I think this conversation really highlights a lot of the key problems that sellers are facing today, as well as the solutions to those problems. So it's great to hear about Veeqo. I'm really excited to see what happens next. And I think that the sellers and brands that are listening are as well. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.